Welcome to Meldon Law and Friends. I'm Jeffrey Meldon, attorney and founder at Meldon Law, and we want to welcome you to our show. My very good friend and older friend, I don't call anybody old now, but my older friend and radio person, radio executive extraordinaire, Eric Jewell, is with us today, and we're going to talk a little bit about the evolution of radio, which is fascinating to me.
It is.
I've had my own radio show since 2002 on WSKY, so I love radio. We have a lot of people that listen to the show and a lot of people that wind up coming to us for clients because they kind of get to know you on the radio. So let's jump right into it. Eric, I know 40 years ago, Eric graduated.
Has it been that long ago?
Yeah. 40 years ago, Eric graduates with a degree from Santa Fe College and decides to jump into the radio business. Let's go back for a few minutes and just talk about your evolution in the Gainesville market as far as the radio industry.
Well, first of all, thank you for having me. Okay, really
welcome.
Appreciate it, Jeff, and I appreciate the friendship for, a very long time. That's, they say if you're friends for 5 years, 7 years, then you're gonna be friends for life or something like that.
Well, we got a lot more than 5 to 7 years.
That's why I say we're gonna be friends for life. So, it's pretty good. And breaking news, I'm back in town. As you well know, I've been away for running some radio stations in Anchorage, Alaska. Can you imagine that?
You froze your ass off, right?
It was cold. Let me just tell you. Today in Anchorage is probably about 7 degrees, and you look at the, what the temp is here in Gainesville, and I can tell you, it's a lot different.
Now, how warm does it get in the summer in Anchorage?
In the summertime in Anchorage, Alaska, it probably gets up in, if it gets in the mid 60s, like 67, it's a heat wave.
Oh,
I mean, people are stripping off clothes and doing all sorts of stuff.
There's no like 75 there,
huh? If it's 75, people are just not having a good time because they don't like the heat at all. In Alaska.
Okay.
I met people from Florida, Jeffrey, that did not. They visited Florida. Like, no, I don't know how you guys handle it down there. This is crazy. Oh my God, no, get me back to Anchorage. So no. But you've come back from Anchorage.
Yes, sir.
However,
I've known you forever and ever in the radio industry.
Oh yeah.
What was your first station in 1985?
My first station, after leaving Santa Fe, way back when, was at KISS 105.
Okay. KISS 105, still going strong. Meldon Law is still
I know.
There.
I know, and that's great. And I listened to the station a little bit since I've been back last few days, and they sound good. If I want to give a quick shout out, I don't know if you know this person, but she just comes to mind, Star Bradbury. Not sure if you know
I recognize the name.
Okay.
Fill me in.
And, I'm going to school. That was before I got done. And, I'm selling Rainbow vacuum cleaners. Okay. And Star says, I get I guess you could say a lead to go to her house to try to sell her.
Yeah, there was no cell phones. There was no email. We had telephones, right?
That's right.
Landlines.
And we had quarters in our pocket.
Yeah, we had quarters in our
And we
pocket.
had beepers back then.
Oh, yeah. I don't even remember having a beeper in 1985.
No? Yeah, no. I'm sure if anybody had one, you had one. But anyway, I go to her house and, and I try to sell her. These vacuum cleaners were Rainbow, $1,250 back then, Jeffrey.
Wow.
And she tells me right away, it's like, Eric, I'm not buying.
That's the equivalent of about $4,000 today for a vacuum cleaner.
I know it. So, but she says, I do know a job that I think that you do well. And I said, Star, it's commission only. I'm trying to make $350 if I sell one to her. She's like, I'm not buying one, but I'm going to give you, a job where I think you'd be good at. And at the time, Darwin Postian was the GM, and Steve Sullivan, God rest his soul, was the sales manager at the time.
Now, this is formerly WGVL?
Yes. And that is correct.
So I used to go on WGVL in 1970. Okay.
Oh, Lord. Okay.
With Maya Rudolph's dad, Dick Rudolph.
Oh,
okay?
my God. Yeah.
And her mom and dad, Minnie Ripperton and Dick Rudolph, and I were best friends. So we used to go on there to promote what we were doing with Tom Petty and some of the other bands in town.
Okay.
And that same studio that Kiss 105 is at now is the exact same studio I used to go to in 1970s, 55 years ago.
That's
if you can
amazing.
Believe that, right?
Yeah.
So how did you get the job?
Anyway, I go and I interview with Darwin. And apparently it was a pretty decent interview that they invited me back to meet, the general sales manager. Like I said, we were Steve Sullivan and some of the rest of the staff. And as they say, the rest is history.
What did you do? What was your first job?
I was an entry-level salesperson.
Okay.
And if I can give you a little bit more information, this is good, Jeffrey. I started out making $800 a month.
Wow.
Okay. Now I was hitting it hard back then, right?
Yeah.
$800 a month. And I can tell you, when I tell people I knew exactly what I was getting paid after taxes, it was $661 per month. Right. And we got paid bi-weekly every 2 weeks. So, you can do that math. It was like $330 or something like that, every couple of weeks. And, I will also tell you my first month, and I was in a panic. I was given a goal of $12,000 that I had to sell.
Of radio ads?
Yes.
Okay.
Now, here's a guy not knowing I know how to sell because I was coming from selling, Rainbow vacuum cleaners.
Which is almost as hard as selling Cutco knives.
Probably even harder. And we had a set of knives that we gave away to people, by the way. So, just imagine, my first day, no real training. Our training was the extent of riding along with one of the senior sellers, okay?
Not bad.
For a day or two.
For a day or two, that's
for
pretty short.
For a day or two.
Right.
And I can just tell you some more interesting information. One of the times that I was out with one of the reps in the afternoon, I don't know if you remember this place. It was a seafood place on 16th and 23rd, I believe, 43rd. I'm sorry. It's called Aw Shucks. Do you remember?
Yes. Very
okay.
Well.
So we did trade with them. We did. So one of our senior guys, his name was Ralph Gray. I love Ralph, but I never go out with him again. So we ended up there having beers in the afternoon. Now, this was my third or fourth day, and our general manager walked in and put his arm around me and Ralph and started to laugh and says, "Ha, ha, ha, what are you boys doing in the middle of the afternoon drinking?" Okay? Now, this is my first week on the job, Jeffrey.
But it wasn't your idea.
It was not my idea. And I remember going home and telling my wife, I'm going to get fired my first week on the job. And I'm saying to myself, I'll never go out with Ralph ever again. And Darwin obviously excused it and said, don't ever do that again. And I took him to heart, and I never did that. From that day, I can tell you, it was a stern lesson for me to learn. I never went out I never mixed business with pleasure. So whenever I drank, I didn't work. Okay, never drank and work and no. So that was
a good lesson.
Yeah, that was a great lesson for me. Trust me.
My rule was it had to be after 5 during the week and after 12 on the weekends.
Well, so you cut off a little bit on the weekends, start a little bit early, right?
Right.
Yeah. So so that was just a little tidbit, but I can tell you, radio has changed. You want to talk about 360?
Yeah, let's talk about the changes
Yep.
in radio because it's fascinating, and the fact is that in many ways radio is still very much alive.
Radio. Let me just say this before I go into any details about how it's changed. There's been many a media that have tried to come along and kill off radio. You remember cable?
Yes.
Years ago, it's like, oh my God, cable is gonna kill radio.
Sirius XM.
Sirius XM. I can't tell you how many clients have actually talked to me, told me, asked me in any market that I've ever been in. Boy, you guys have real problems with Sirius. Is radio gonna make it, Eric? Are you gonna be okay? I was like, local radio will always survive.
And why is that?
Well, first of all, you're in a local market. You're in Gainesville, Florida, or you're in Ocala, Florida, or you're in Orlando, Florida, or you're in Miami. So let's just take that part of it and know that people want to know what's going on in their community. Okay?
Absolutely.
And that will never change. 100 years from now, you'll be talking about it, how radio, I will just tell you, really relies on being involved in the local community and stations that stay connected to the local community and be involved with what you do and things that you do, in a local community, will always survive because they will want to know what's happening in the school system. They will want to know what's happening with the environment of where they actually live, crime, healthcare, just the overall local economy, new businesses that are coming, to town, people that are opening up new businesses, in town,
and shows like Bob Rose on the Sky,
Yep.
It's like. And there's a crash at 43rd Street, right, at 39th Avenue. So you might want to avoid that coming in. Right?
You may want to avoid it.
I don't think Sirius XM has that.
I can tell you they don't, and they never will. And that's a component, Jeffrey, that will continue to exist in local communities. And if radio doesn't get caught up into this idea that you don't have to be live and local anymore, you'll be able to survive. Because anytime you can have your radio personality, and by the way, research shows this, it's just not me saying it, that people do fall in love with their local personalities and they will follow them and they believe in them. Why do you think endorsements work? Because people really believe when somebody says, okay, you know what, this is going to, you should go shop at this store, A, B, C, or D, then guess what? People follow that.
And in the legal industry, there's a low level of trust for attorneys. So one of the things that we do at Meldon Law is to try to engage the local community through our, fan fests at football and basketball games and gymnastics, and we support all the Gator stuff. In Ocala, we support a lot of things that are going on. And really the goal of most of it is to get people to know us, because once they get to know you, the level of trust rises incrementally.
There's no question about it. And by the way, I followed a lot of what you guys were doing in Alaska. And seeing all the fan fests. I miss being here from obviously doing Gator football season. I'm glad I'm back, for Gator basketball season. So I looked at all the stuff that you do via FanFest. And, I really kind of couple all of that together, Jeffrey, with honestly one word, engagement. Okay? Engagement. When you engage with the audience, that means you care. Okay? When you care, in my opinion, it creates emotion. And emotion drives people to act. And when you've got, it's kind of like listening to that favorite song that you might hear on the radio from 1989 or 1995. It's like, oh, we used to call them in radio, oh wow,
Right.
Those oh wow songs.
Music does bring you back
Sure.
to times in your life. I read a study which said that when you're 14 years old, the songs that you listen to and your favorite songs at that time in your life are songs that will stay with you the most for the rest of your life.
I believe that because it's instant recall. And, I don't care how many times you play those songs. It's going to bring back great memories, and instant recall to, where you were and, who your friends were at that time and, all of that.
I was trying to figure out, though, why the age of 14. Maybe it's because, it's young enough when you have the time and the ability to listen to your songs on the radio. When you think of, young kids, a lot of them listen to the radio, right?
Yep.
Growing up,
Sure.
You were manager of Magic 101,
Yes.
right? Now that's a huge urban station in this market, and I would bet that when you did your demographics, there were a lot of younger people that listened to it.
There's no question. It's interesting that you bring that up, Jeffrey, because, through my quest of over 40 years now.
Yeah, Eric's hung up on saying the word 40 years. He thinks that people are going to know that he's over 47 years old.
I know. Hey, listen, for the record, I'm 67. So,
okay, you're still younger than I am.
Yeah,
so,
well,
I'm leading the way.
Yeah,
okay?
no, you still look good though. Yeah.
So what is it that when you did the demographics, for say Magic, right? In 101, what did the demographics show you as far as ages of people listening?
Well, I'll tell you, back then, it wasn't hard because in Gainesville and Ocala combined, there really wasn't an urban station. Okay, to have people. I think Kiss was probably the closest, in terms of music that actually played, urban music.
Well, yeah, and Kiss, even to this day, we call that the, it's kind of the top 40 station.
Yep.
And
some people call it Churban.
And Churban, top 40.
Yeah.
And it leans a little more female than male.
Yeah. It's 60-40 for sure.
Yeah.
There's no question.
So
no doubt about it.
But did you ever get stats on the age groups for either Magic or Kiss or any of those?
There's no question. We did a lot of as much as what we could with Arbitron. Obviously.
Arbitron, you have to be big enough to have enough money to pay them, right?
Yeah, you do.
And then once you get an Arbitron rating, then you can get national advertisers.
National, regional, and, a lot of the agency business.
Because the agencies... they want real numbers. They don't want, their friend Joe saying, "Man, we're getting a lot of people listening."
Yeah, we heard that a lot of people are listening to our radio station.
That doesn't work.
Yeah, we heard. No, I mean, you do. We got a lot of the information from them based on who is listening, what they do, how they spend their money, who spends money. Different breakdown in age groups, and believe it or not, I was told back then because Eric, you're going to ruin your career. don't go and start up, because Magic was really sort of a startup. It had just came from being dark, okay? And I said, the challenge, need it, want it, it's right in my wheelhouse. We can do some things. And we, lo and behold, 12 years later, I'm still at the radio station managing, and I look around and see what they're doing right now, and it looks like they're doing pretty well.
And they're doing a lot of the same concepts you started when you started working with them.
Yep. It's really interesting, Jeffrey, when you start to look back. When I look back, on Magic, we're putting building blocks, and we had to make people believe that the audience was viable. Okay,
because there were enough people would listen, and there were enough people listening that would spend money.
Correct. Yeah. I remember. I'll tell you a funny story. In Don Close, who used to manage Honda and Pontiac. Don't even know if they make Pontiacs anymore, do they?
I like the Indian Chief head on the front of the Pontiac. I did have a Le Mans Pontiac.
Le Mans
I drove it to Gainesville in 1970. It was a convertible.
Whoa, there you go.
It was yellow.
Yeah, okay, well, there you go.
And with a black interior. Okay, I called it the Bumblebee.
My goodness!
And that was the smaller Pontiac. It was larger than any car on the market today, but that's what they call their mid-size.
And it had a lot of hard metal.
It had a lot of hard metal.
Yeah.
So anyhow, so keep going.
No, so and obviously I got a ton of these kind of stories, but I remember going to Don because he was a client when I was at the other radio stations, and I went to him, and sort of tongue in cheek, and Don said, "Man, come on, ain't no brothers buying no cars." And I was like, "Don, what are you talking about?" He's like, "Come on, brother, come on, E." And I was like, "Okay, Don." So I put him through a test, and I'll tell you this, Jeffrey. To this day, I tell the story everywhere I've gone. I said, "We're gonna walk outside." It was right on Main Street. Okay, where I guess it's GMC now.
Yes.
Okay, that's where the Pontiac place was, and Mr. Rollison, it was called Wade Rollison Pontiac Honda, and I said, I want you to walk out, and we're going to stand outside of your door, and we're going to count the number of people, urban folks, black folks, that actually drive past here in nice cars.
Okay.
We stood out there for 15, maybe 20 minutes, and we counted a large number of folks that he didn't think could buy cars or did buy cars. And lo and behold, we came right back into his office, and we signed a contract, and he was on the air with me for my entire time that I was managing the radio station from that point on.
Nice.
So there you go, right there. And that's, like I said, that's just one of, many stories.
Well, it was innovative.
Yeah.
For you to just, have to break what his preconceived concept was by just doing a demonstration for him, right?
Yeah.
And you go, what's more powerful than walking him out to the sidewalk and say, "Here, take a look."
Yeah, and we were counting them. One, there's two, there's three.
Nice car, brother in there.
Yeah,
nice
right.
car, sister in there. Okay.
Well, that's exactly how it kind of went. I will just tell you that. That's exactly kind of how And Don was like, "You know what, Eric, you were right." And he did say that, "You know what, I was wrong." For having this preconceived idea that folks, didn't have the ability, to buy, whatever kind of car, they want to drive. I think a lot of those ill-conceived ideas and, ways that people think are, less and less today than what they were back then.
So let's talk about the radio industry today. Okay. I know in this market, country is huge. Certainly urban is big in this market. You've got your, top 40 rock. It's kind of like, KISS station.
Yep.
Talk radio.
Yep.
Bob Rose and Sky dominate the talk radio market. It's I
don't think there's any question. I haven't been here, but I still see the numbers. And those guys still, they do a phenomenal job.
Yeah. So here's a funny fact.
Sure.
That Bob Rose starts working at the Sky 2 months before I started my radio program on the Sky. And we become great friends over there. And
sure.
And you know what? What's interesting is his format works good because he can interview me for, 3 or 4 or 5 minutes.
Perfect.
And, then, the trust that he builds up with his audience is, kind of, given to me in some ways because, we have worked together for many, many years. Now, in broadcast radio, it's a little different because usually most of the formats don't fit the idea of doing an interview.
Well, radio has the ability, if management allows it to happen. I can just tell you when, obviously, a few years ago when I was at KISS, we created some opportunities for you to come in, for
That's
clients
right.
to come
Yeah.
in
Right.
and do.
Meldon Monday.
That's correct.
And we still do it.
Are you still doing it?
Well, yeah, Maria Youngblood lives in the neighborhood because, I'm not getting up at 6 a.m. to go do a 5-minute interview live in the radio, But however, we still have the relationship, and we're still involved because that's a very important piece of the marketplace, right? Is the people that listen to that station.
There's no question about it. I think that the younger demographic, not the Gen Z, but the what demographics do you call them now?
Well, I would, whatever it is, it's the people, that maybe have kids now,
Sure.
they're 30 to 45 or 50.
Those are folks that actually grew up. Their parents listened to the radio station, probably listened to KISS.
Correct.
Yeah. Or, they may have listened to, to Bob or Storm Roberts or,
Yeah, Storm. What a great run Storm had.
Oh, yeah. No, he had a wonderful run. I
KTK.
Still, stay in touch with him. And
so
see
the
him,
story about Storm Roberts, right?
I don't.
Okay, so Storm Roberts' name is Bob Whalen.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when I was telling you about 1970, when I used to go on the late night show at 105, which was WGVL at the time, Storm Roberts, who was then known as Bob Whalen, he and I used to do interviews together in 1970. Okay, so for those of you listening and watching, you can see why I'm excited talking to Eric Jewell. Okay,
Bring out all these old stories. That's because I'm so old.
No, it goes back even further because in the 1950s, my father in Cleveland, Ohio, Harry Meldon, had the largest jazz nightclub between New York and Chicago. And he was good friends with the radio disc jockeys at the time. Okay. And his best friend was the famous disc jockey named Bill Randall. Now, you may not know this, but if you Google Bill Randall, you will see that he is the DJ that broke Elvis Presley.
Wow. Okay. One of the first ones to play his music?
He got together with the Colonel, okay, and he thought he could make it happen, and it was WERE in Cleveland, Ohio.
Okay.
And my dad was like good friends because he'd go down to the radio station to promote their jazz.
Okay.
And And then the other disc jockey who was on WJW 850 in Cleveland was the disc jockey that named rock and roll, Alan Freed. So my father was best friends with the disc jockey that broke Elvis, which really started rock and roll. I mean, rock and roll was before, but it was like the Beatles were to the world, right?
Sure.
And Alan Freed, he was he had a late night show, and it was spooky and groovy. And Alan Freed was playing black music on a white station. Okay.
Risky back then, I'm sure.
Yeah, and it was, he called himself the Moondog, and
Moondogs. Oh my goodness.
So growing up, my first music that I was exposed to was jazz, because my dad got the promo records and would bring them back, and we'd play them on the record player. And
LPs.
Well, no. This is before LPs.
This before LPs?
Yeah.
These were just albums.
Yeah.
Okay.
And in the old days, an album of 12 songs, there was 6 vinyl records. You had one song on one side of the vinyl record, the other one on the other side of the vinyl.
Okay, I don't know if I ever knew that.
I discovered that in some a collection of classical music that my grandfather had from the 1930s, okay, and that that was the entertainment back then. So anyhow, getting back to the radio, I want to wrap up the show spending some time talking about the state of radio today. What, for those of you listening that own businesses, what are the opportunities, and what should you be looking for as far as the right station for your business?
Well, I can tell you, I don't want to say that's complicated, but it is a little bit, because, with radio, you gotta, the main thing is, when they say keep the main thing, that is making sure you're consistent with the music. Okay. If you're a musical radio station, people tune into the radio station because they love the music that you play. If you're a talk station, they enjoy, the kind of music the kind of talk, whether it's, whatever, conservative talk or non, or local, or, I can tell you in Memphis, we did urban talk, and, it was a, huge hit. Now, with the advent of digital, that's really kind of taken over, what people do, Jeffrey, and it's all about these iPhones, okay? And people not stuck to their radio, listening to the radio station. You can create your own radio station that you want to listen to with Spotify, okay? With iHeartRadio. You can create whatever it is that you want to.
I was laughing because I'm an older guy, and everything Eric's talking about, I have, in my entertainment package on my front page of my cell phone. I have Spotify, and I have iHeart, and I have Pandora, and I have different radio connectors, and all the different stations. Odyssey has one, right? So that's a trend. But, I think my instinct tells me that the majority of people are still listening to their FM signal, mostly in their car.
In-car listening is still very prominent with the radio audience and how people listen to radio. Very rarely, and I have to look at research. Do you have people listen to radio at home? Okay, just because they're doing other things.
And in Gainesville, we don't have hour-and-a-half commutes, but in big cities, you do.
No,
right?
you do. Well, I can tell you, when I was in Kansas City, I lived in Kansas City, Kansas, and I commuted 27, almost 30 miles every day to Kansas City, Missouri. Over the river. So that was about a 45-minute drive. Okay. So, but let me just kind of touch on, on digital. There's so many different weaves to, or plugins, if you will, with digital. And I guess I would say that digital has become so important because, you get people, you can put your digital message in front of people and have them react to it, almost immediately.
How is that done?
Well, for instance, if you've got a digital message and you're doing something, let's just say Facebook, okay? And you can actually, Facebook now is so, I guess integral in terms of you being able to target a specific demographic. For instance, if McDonald's decided that they wanted to do a, special with hamburgers, and you did a digital promotion that you targeted 18 to 24-year-olds, you would have a ton of 18 to 24-year-olds knocking on McDonald's door the next day.
We call that geo-targeting because... Boom. Right?
That's or geofencing.
Or geofencing.
That is correct.
So you can actually say, I just want the signal to go to this zip code, to this these 4 streets.
Yep.
To this.
No, I mean, it just depends on, how specific you want to be. In terms of, you can say women, you can say minorities, you can say older people, you can say, people that have, $100,000 to invest. But, I think all of that you got to have, because most people, if you've got a lot of money to spend, I would say look at trying to diversify what you want to do in terms of your messaging. But if you're a local mom and pop shop, you're going to reach enough people just advertising on the radio to fill up your store for a month. Mm-hmm. Okay? For instance, if people say, oh, you're not the number one radio station, you don't have to be the number one radio station, Jeffrey. But, probably the 12th or 10th or 12th ranked radio station has enough people for you to be able to put your message on there consistently. And when I say, with a decent frequency of 3 or 4, at least, that means your message is going to be heard, by at least 3 or 4 times a day. And maybe that's every other day, or maybe that's twice a week. Regardless, if you do it consistently, you're going to reach enough people that your message will resonate, honestly, with those people.
Talk about that frequency, because that's something
Sure.
I'm always interested in. When you're advertising, people need to hear your message over and over and over
Right.
again before it creates top of the mind awareness.
Sure. That's a little bit tricky, Jeffrey, because frequency is one thing, overkill is another. Okay?
All the lawyers are guilty of overkill. That's what I think.
I can tell you, when I'm just getting back here, and I know I've been gone for a little bit over a year, but man, oh man, I see a lot of lawyers, on TV mainly.
I know, and
yeah.
what? That's one reason we're strong. We invest a lot more in the radio signals
Yep.
in our marketplace, because we didn't want to compete with the big box law firms.
Good idea.
Because
Yep.
their attitude is burn and churn. They get half the, according to my information, they get less than half of the settlement value we get per case. And there's a reason for it. They're churning and burning. They throw money at the TV and radio, and the big cases you see, because out of every 10,000 cases, they're going to have one good case, right? Or 2 or 10 or whatever the number is. But
I got a question, and I don't mean to cut you off, but it's just something that and I dealt with a lot of attorneys, and I've been since being in this business, I've gone from Huntsville, Alabama to Tallahassee, to Memphis, to Kansas City, and then to just most recently to Anchorage, Alaska, and they all put out these big numbers of thank you for getting me $2 million, or thank you for getting me $850,000, and I'm glad I'm here. And I can ask you, is that something that's real?
Yeah.
Don't they have to tell the truth about that?
Yeah, except, if I put up numbers, it wouldn't be 800,000. It'd be 4 million and 3 million and 2. But we don't do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
We get better results. Okay. However, we build our brand on trust, community involvement, on doing a better job than anybody else, so that we can get referrals from our clients and former clients. And we do things that are different. A lot of friends of mine around the country, I'm in mastermind groups,
sure,
and a lot of those folks do it that way as well. You have a quality product,
sure,
and you don't necessarily have to do it the way the big box stores do it. So
you don't have to follow those. It's not something that you.
Now, would I like the money they're making? Sure.
Of course.
But do I enjoy serving our community? I come to work. I help people put their lives back together. I change people's lives. When I say it's our team, but But I've always loved the fact that I can sit down at the end of a case, and by that time I know the client, and hand them a big check, which they deserve, and then help them put their lives back together. And maybe it helps them buy a new house, pay off some bills they have. Maybe
it's pay off some debt. Yeah,
debt. Maybe they buy a new car. Maybe they do all of that because we got them a ton of money. And also, I talk to them about how to be sensible, because if you get, if you're used to making $50,000 a year and all of a sudden you get $1 million in your pocket, you may not know how to handle it.
That's life changing, for sure.
Yeah. Yep. So it's I see those ads, and the fact is, it works. It works best with the lower half of the socioeconomic group, because they go, well, Jack hit the lottery, maybe I'll hit the lottery. Like, if you're the kind of person that likes to go and take half your paycheck to the 7-Eleven and buy lottery tickets, then go call those firms, because lightning may hit. However, the odds of lightning hit coming to Meldon Law are probably 3 times better than going to the big box firms.
Got it. Yeah, no,
that's my pitch.
No, I got it. I mean,
however,
if you're wanting somebody to take care of you and understand, all the things that you're about as a client, this is a guy you need to call right here.
And so, tying it into radio, we've been big proponents of radio for a long time. Like I said, I started in 2002 with my weekly radio show on the Sky 9. It's 97.3 The Sky.
Yep.
And the show is called Law Talk Live, and it's on every Saturday morning at 10:30 every Saturday morning. And my son says to me, Dad, do you want to start recording those during the week? Do you want someone else to fill in? Do you want that? I said, no, it's part of my life. I enjoy the show. I like coming on. I can make it to the radio station live by 10:30 on a Saturday morning. Okay,
no,
but I will tell you that you're absolutely right, that radio works. That there may be different ways to deliver the message if you're looking to advertise on radio. I usually buy the subscriptions and pay extra so I don't have to listen to commercials on like Sirius XM. I turn on the Tom Petty station.
There you go.
Okay.
There you go.
There's other stations I'll listen to, but most of the time I live in Gainesville. It's 5 minutes here and 5 minutes there. It's like to get more than
Get out of your car real quick.
Yeah.
Boom, boom, boom.
Unless you live on the west side of Gainesville, you're not going to get more than a 15-minute ride everywhere. And then I'm on the phone with a client or somebody from the office for a few minutes. I turn on the radio, and I still love listening to live radio, though. I think
It'll never change, Jeffrey. Obviously we didn't get into all the intimate dynamics of the evolution of radio, but we obviously going back to 1985, we don't sell spots. It's more of a design strategy that advertisers employ now than just okay, I'm going to sell you 20 spots a week or 30 spots a week. It's obviously connected with all of what's going on digital. If you've got some a TV piece that you got to put in there. Obviously that's important. We call that synergistic rate. Advertising. So if you can afford it,
Well, and that's why we do some TV.
Sure.
We do billboards in Gainesville. We do buses, and it all works together. But our edge is that we're local and we connect with people in a lot of other ways in addition to being out there. But you have to get branded. And, radio.
Branding is important.
I went to a conference last week, National Trial Lawyers down in Miami,
Mm-hmm.
and they're talking to all these experts, a lot of them in marketing and stuff like that. And, they're in, website stuff, and they're in different aspects of how you get new clients, right? And they asked a question to a panel of 4 people, and they said, over the next 5 years, what's going to be the most important thing for a law firm? And the answer of 3 of the 4 people was branding. And to think about that, obviously the big box law firms have done a very good job of creating their brand. And with the Gator deal, the idea that the Gators, chose to work with us and have continued to work with us actively was really key for us to get a brand. After 50 years of being in the community, we figured out how to brand ourselves, okay?
Yeah. Connect to the biggest, strongest brand in the state.
Yeah, and number 2 behind Disney World, actually. And Albert the Alligator is the number 2 most liked puppet behind Mickey Mouse.
Oh, okay? My God. Yeah, so, that's a mascot that, obviously everybody can identify with.
Everybody can identify with Albert. I met Albert Murphy was the president of the University of Florida in the early 1900s.
Okay.
And his grandson is a friend of mine. And the story goes, that Albert the Alligator was named after Albert Murphy a long time.
I wouldn't doubt it. Okay? I would not doubt that. I would not doubt that.
And that, of course, his wife's name was Alberta. And this comes from
Albert and Alberta.
This comes from a reputable source.
Yep.
So anyhow.
Oh my goodness.
So we're getting near the end of the show. Sure. I know that you've been in the radio industry, your whole life.
Yep.
And what are some words of wisdom that you can impart to people that own small businesses in our community as far as how to utilize radio and everything it has to offer to help build your brand?
Well, great question, Jeffrey. Thank you for asking me, and thank you for inviting me. This is really cool.
This is Eric is one of the rare people that have been on 2 times. Okay, and on Saturday Night Live, if you're there 5 times, they give you a jacket. I told Eric I'm going to give him the Meldon Law, swag bag for being here for 2 times.
All right, I get the swag.
Plus, well, actually, we give that to every guest, but I'm going to enhance the swag bag. To honor Eric for coming on more than once.
Well, I appreciate that. But, getting back to, honestly, Jeffrey, your question, I was told a long time ago, and it's funny how things stick to you when you're told, by people that are really, that are really wanting to help you. And also, I can tell you, since I've been here, since I've been in the business, you got to enhance your knowledge. I can't tell you how many books I've read on selling, okay, and how to help your clients. The one thing that I will go back to, and this was long before I read all the books that I've read and listened to, things that I've listened to, is carve out your niche. Most small businesses try to do too much, try to reach too many people, try to be too many things to everybody. I was told a long time ago, it's like, Eric, look at a room. Pick out a corner, own it. Own that corner, and you know what? When you own that corner, then guess what? You can expand on that, okay? But just imagine you're opening up a business. You're trying to satisfy everybody. Just imagine, Jeffrey, if you what kind of, attorney you are and, the clients that you're targeting. Okay. Just imagine if you tried to do everything with everybody. Oh no, we do this. We got 15 different things, that we're going to try to do. And chances are you're probably not doing every one of those things well. So my advice, small business, hard as it is, right now, pick out a corner, own it, and then guess what? People will come, and you'll be able to expand and understand success comes with time. It's funny in Anchorage, Alaska, we don't have Sirius. We did not have Sirius radio because the signals and everything was, weren't able to, so that was one competitor that we didn't have, that we didn't have to deal with, in Alaska. But my messaging for those folks were, and, it was really interesting, but I had to leave because, my wife wasn't going to move and, it was going to be an empty nester. It's like, okay, you know what? We'll figure it out. Come on back. And that's what we're doing right now. But local business, stay local, stay engaged, stay involved with what you're doing. Do what you do. Be engaged with community because you can make more friends. Particularly, Jeffrey, I've seen those lines. I'm in Anchorage, Alaska, and I'm seeing the lines of people that you had during Gator games for all the stuff that you were giving away. I don't know what the hell it was that you were giving away, but they had lines around the door, it's like, oh my God. It's like I'm sitting in my apartment because, I would wake up. There's a 4-hour difference. So Gator game comes on at noon. I'm rolling out of bed at 8. In fact, it is right now. I still got Alaska time. It's 12:30. Yeah. 12:30 in Alaska. And I see those lines of everything that you had going. And I go online. It's like, man, what in the world? What the hell are you doing?
The Wheel of Fortune.
That's it. That's what it was.
Everybody loves spinning the Wheel of Fortune.
Oh, yeah.
And then we have good swag. We give away
I've seen
nice
some
swag.
of it. Yeah.
And so, I want to thank you very much for being on the show. Eric Jewell, radio professional, longtime history in Gainesville. Eric is, right now a great opportunity for if anybody needs someone that knows radio, knows how to build a brand. Eric's out here. How do people get a hold of you?
Well, you know what? If you can actually text me.
What number? Give them a number to text
You can text me at 256-503-3481. And folks that know me, you can email me at Eric Jewell, number 6 at gmail.com.
I love it. Jewell, Jewell.
Yep.
And Eric, Eric.
Yep.
And anyhow, Eric and I have been friends for a long time.
Absolutely.
A consummate professional, knows the radio industry better than anybody, and really is done an amazing job of, number one, building a lot of radio stations into successful businesses. And more than that, creating a lot of enjoyment for the listeners that follow.
We've done some pretty cool promos.
Yeah.
We actually done some really nice ones with you too. So,
Meldon Monday on on Kiss. Listen to it around 8:30 in the morning. So
there you go.
Anyhow, listen. We're going to take a short break here on the show. I'm going to come back and give you a few updates of what's going on in the community, something we think is very important. So we'll be back in just a few minutes on Meldon Law and Friends.
Awesome.
Jeffrey, what are you doing?
Well, I'm joining the band, of course. Since Meldon Law is the official law firm partner of the Florida Gators, I want to help.
Dad, we're litigators. Let's stick to helping people in the courtroom.
Well, can we still hang out and jam a little bit? At Meldon Law, we won't back down.
I was going down a one-way street and a girl that was driving her car T-boned me on my scooter. I ended up going for an MRI and discovering that I had 2 herniated discs. Coming to Cary allowed me to not have to worry about what doctor I was going to see or what physical therapist I had to go to. They say, these are the people we trust. You're going to have a great experience there. And I honestly did each time.
Call Meldon Law. Your consultation is absolutely free.
And I was in an accident. Someone ran a red light and hit me, and I was hurt. You don't know where to turn. Luckily, I called Jeffrey. These big insurance companies, they don't want you to win. They truly don't. But Jeffrey and his firm and the people that work here, they just really fight for you. You call the law offices of Jeffrey Meldon because you're going to need help, and they will help you.
Call Meldon Law right now.
Hey, Sammy, look who's there. Say hi.
Hey!
You again!
Meldon Law, Jeffrey speaking.
Jeffrey!
Somebody else hit us here. Here we go again. Welcome back to Meldon Law and Friends. I'm Jeffrey Meldon, founder and attorney at Meldon Law, and we are having a great time today. And I'm looking at my list of announcements of things going on in the community, and I'm getting really excited. Listen to this. Starting February 5th, running through the 8th at the World Equestrian Center, Arena number 5. If you like to be entertained with elegance and power, then look into the Grand View World Nights, which is a magnificent annual event incorporating the majestic elegance and power of the Clydesdales, the Belgians, and the Percherons, which are your most popular draft horse breeds. I guess those are the working horses. So the evening's designed to entertain and captivate you by merging the gentle giant's brawn synchronized to tremendous heart-pounding instrumental music. Oh, that's pretty cool. Wow. So the horses are dancing to the music. The intensity and auditory sensation and energy this amount of horsepower can produce is chilling. The thunderous sound of hundreds of pounding hooves that can only be described as pure horsepower. The world level hitches demand your attention, from the craftsmanship of the harnesses to the astonishing wagons they pull. Come experience the gentle giants at the World Equestrian Center, and you'll see some stuff you've never seen before. So anyhow, we love the World Equestrian Center. It's really the Disney World for horse people.
I've been down there. Yeah,
amazing, right?
It's amazing. Oh yeah.
And so support World Equestrian Center. They're bringing incredible entertainment in the form of some of the best horse events in the world. So come on, help them out. The Lake City Chamber of Commerce ribbon cutting for Lake City Therapeutic, friends of ours in Lake City on February 6th at 4:30. Show up, and there's going to be food, and a good time will be had by all. The UF Health is expanding all over. I don't know if you all know, but UF Health is now all over the state of Florida. And on February 8th at the Brownwood Hotel and Spa in the Villages, they're having a gala, the Ticket to Paradise in the Villages. So let's support them. They're doing some amazing work there. And the fact that they're already down in the Villages is great, because UF Health is a terrific medical center. It's rivaling, Mayo Clinic and Cleveland Clinic now for Floridians. You need to check out UF Health. We're big fans of them. I go there. My wife goes there, and we love UF Health. The Battle of the Bands. So Meldon Law has been sponsoring Homestead Park in Williston for a long time now, and they're doing this great country Battle of the Bands. Go see some of your great country bands. It's right in Williston, Homestead Park. That's February 8th, and it's going from 11 in the morning till 7 at night. So that sounds like a blast.
There you go.
Another famed thing that one of my favorites, Gator Nationals is coming.
Oh boy.
The Tuesday before Gator Nationals start, the Chamber of Commerce has this awesome event out there at the racetrack, and it's from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. If you're a chamber member, it's free. If you're not a chamber member, shame on you, but it's only $25 for non-members.
Yeah.
Eric, I know you've been out there.
I've only been to maybe like 50 of them.
Yeah, right. And they're fun, right?
They're a lot of fun.
They're one of the most fun.
Oh, yeah.
And you
At
see
least.
all the race cars starting to
yeah.
get ready. And
Oh, yeah.
so check it out. Another deal we got here is the Warriors Gala in Ocala, February 28th. Making It Matthews in Ocala, and the fourth annual Warriors Gallery. They're focusing on PTSD for our veterans, and we support the veterans. We've had our Veterans Making a Difference program for many years, and so go out there. It's February 28th from 6 to 9 p.m. At Making It Matthews in Ocala. Of course, Gator basketball is hot. And for both the men's team and the women's team this year, Meldon Law is donating $19.71. 1971 is the year we were founded. And all of the money raised is going to the Ronald McDonald House
There you go.
In Gainesville. And it's awesome. You're going to love it. What they do at the Ronald McDonald House is to help support families whose children are facing life-threatening illnesses and going to Shands, and the family has to pick up many times leaving their job, leaving their homes, bringing their other kids with them. And the Ronald McDonald House plays such an important part in having a place for them to live and to eat while their child is fighting for their lives. So let's support the Ronald McDonald House. And if you want to volunteer, just Google them, go give them a call. They have tons of things that you can volunteer with, and I promise you an awesome time. Ticket giveaways. So Lady Gator softball team, #1 in the country. The
I didn't know
Gator.
that.
Gator men's baseball team came in number 3 in the country last year. I went to the College World Series and saw them. They have an awesome team this year.
Wow.
Go support the Gator baseball team. Basketball is still strong for another 5 weeks. So go to our Meldon Law Facebook page, and you can win tickets for all the events, including the gymnastics event, which happens to be the hardest ticket to get in Gainesville.
Right.
So listen, we have incredible things going on all over North Central Florida, from the villages up to Lake City. We have offices, so check us out. Meldon Law is here to help you. You can get a hold of us, either call in the office 352-373-8000, or go to meldonlaw.com, our website, and you'll find out lots of ways to communicate with us. You can call, you can email, you can do whatever you want. I don't know if people use faxes anymore, but I think we still have a fax machine.
Yeah.
But we are here. We're easy to find. And I promise you will get the Ritz-Carlton experience at Meldon Law. We do it better. We've been doing it longer, and we know what we're doing. Give us a try. You'll be amazed. Anyhow, that's the end of the show. I want to thank our special guest, Eric Jewell, for joining us. And we're going to be back next week on Meldon Law and Friends.